mop.
Are you ready?
I have to apologize. I just fell asleep on the car ride to school, and so I am sort of half asleep. I actually have more subscribers than I expected after the first day, but most of them are like my dad and my brother and one of my best friends and stuff like that. Any feedback that you can give me would be great, since this isn't only a YouTube channel about writing, but also just like what it's like to be a YouTuber. I do feel a little distant from the camera, like I'm a little far away, but like yesterday I spent like 10 minutes trying to find a good setup, and this was the best one I could find. There's also like this annoying tilt, and I don't know why it's there, but it's there. Anyways, let's get on to the most important things about writing. Number one is write what you enjoy because you enjoy it. That is very important. That is really the only rule that matters, and it affects all the other rules beyond that. And so all the other rules sort of, you can break them if you want to, and they're not set in stone. This is the only one that you should not break. I mean, it's possible to break it, but it's also possible to murder someone, and that's against the law. Yeah, so write what you enjoy because you enjoy it. If you don't like writing romance, like me, then don't write romance. Don't feel obligated to do that just because all the popular books have romance in them, and all the fandoms have shipping and stuff like that. And write because you enjoy it. You need to get your motivation behind your writing right, or else you're going to be very unhappy. And the best motivation for anything is to do it because it makes you happy and it's something you love to do. And that is really the only motivation for writing that will get you anywhere. There's this illusion that writing can bring you like fame and fortune, but it's actually not true. It's just that there's this tip of the iceberg of all the authors that were actually able to get above the water. And that's what you see, since those are the famous ones that everybody know about. But then underneath the water, there's a huge ton of books that were never able to really get off the ground. And like, even Rick Riordan is still a teacher. Either a middle school or an elementary school teacher, I think. Because even him, his books don't make enough money to support himself. I'll probably do a video at some point explaining some of the publishing process so you can explain why it doesn't make that much money. But yeah, writing because you want to be famous is no way to go. And if you're trying to cater to what your audience wants, you'll just end up being unhappy. You should really just write what you enjoy. And so the reason that affects all the other rules and everything I will ever talk about is because if you like to write like meme material where like is spelled ILIEK, and then like spell everything wrong on purpose, if that's what makes you happy, then write it. But if that's what makes you happy, then you shouldn't be disappointed when you try to show people it and they're like, yeah, I can't even read this grammar is horrible. But yeah, that is the most important thing. You have to know that. Write what makes you happy, and write because it makes you happy. There are times when I don't enjoy writing and it just sort of feels like a chore. But in the end, I still enjoy it. And those are just little pits that I fall into in certain scenes and stuff where I just feel stuck or bored. And then at that point, I just have to think, okay, I'm not enjoying it right now, but I do know I enjoy writing it as a whole, and I need to get through this to do the rest. Or I change something so that I do enjoy it. Like, I throw this crazy old man and a chipmunk into a conversation about goldfish and frogs. I don't even remember how that happened, but I do remember writing that. The other important thing has to do with confidence, which I'm not very good at, so with any art form it's hard because you can sort of see it in your head, and then when you get it out on a paper, it's always below what you saw in your head. It just doesn't translate perfectly. So you always feel like it's not as good as it could be. And it's very hard to know how good your writing is because you as the author have a very different point of view from a reader. If you were to knock yourself out, give you amnesia, and then read your writing, it would be a completely different experience from just rereading what you wrote and you remember writing it because you understand more of the context if you didn't explain things inside the book that well. And so one of the ways to fix that is to get people to read your writing and give you feedback on how you're doing, and that is terrifying, especially if you don't think you're a good writer. I'll be talking about stuff like that in a later video because you don't want to be a super annoying person like, hey, please read my stuff. But you also, if you want to improve, you have to have multiple opinions and multiple sets of eyes. So yeah, just your first draft is always going to be awful. Like, I found the first draft of the first chapter of my book the other day. I wrote it when I was 13. I just, no, that was awful. So yeah, but the great thing about writing is that you improve over time. So those are the two most important things. Write what you love because you love to do it, and try to keep an open mind about how good your writing actually is. I find most people who think that their writing is worse than it actually is, and people who are in this grand illusion that their writing is better than it is. But the only way to really tell is to get somebody you trust to tell you their honest opinion on what they think. So you need readers to know if your writing is good. Because you, as the author, you don't have the right context or point of view to really decide that. So I guess since that's what this video sort of led into, tomorrow I will talk about getting readers and sort of putting your book out there, even though that wasn't what I was planning on doing first, because that's sort of like the last step after you're done writing the novel, but I feel like I need to follow up with that. Feedback and interactions is greatly appreciated for the class part of this. And I am a minute over. This is so different from yesterday. Wow. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you on Monday. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm already a minute in. Oink, oink. Alright. And number one. I feel like I have a hair in my. Anyways, that was a very extreme metaphor. Yeah. Just, I have to listen to myself as much as I listen to you guys. Like, writing, I'm doing pretty good, honestly. Maybe I should just be half awake for all my videos.